Construction crane numbers fall to a 2-year low. Let's have a look. Good morning, everyone. Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I've got my world's greatest dad cup of coffee I'm starting the day with today, and I thought we'd have a look at this article from commercialrealestate.com.au, originally from the Fin Review, looking at the crane numbers. Now, there's a crane index published by RLB, which we will look at after we go through this. But what does this tell us about the construction industry, or at the very least, the industry that is taking advantage of cranes? So, crane numbers have fallen 7% across Australia's 2 largest cities, prompting warnings that any illness shutdown of construction sites would delay the start of new projects and send the total tumbling further. Now, this all ties into government stimulus. There are calls for other, spending on infrastructure and construction. The overall numbers have fallen as the high-rise home building boom slows and new commercial projects have not kicked in to replace completed ones. Well, guys, I know there are a lot of tradies watching the channel. Let us know in the comments how it's going for you. There's a few people that work or comment that they're on high-rise projects, so they're secured for the foreseeable future. That's the advantage when you get a big job like that. You've got a, guaranteed income at least, unless something goes wrong, until that job's completed, which is a good thing. But the question is what comes after. Particularly if these commercial jobs aren't kicking off. We saw building approvals, the last building approval data, and I will bring that up here. You can see dwelling units went up, but look at the private sector housing as well. They went down. So seasonally adjusted, we had a jump in dwelling unit approvals. So hopefully that'll be a sign that the industry will keep going, or it could just be people getting the approvals done, getting that locked in before other changes happen to legislation or other changes happen to town planning. It's to reduce the uncertainty. It's not necessarily a sign that it will all turn over into construction, particularly with these unknowns that we're seeing. Sydney's tally fell by 20 cranes to a 3.5-year low of 299, while Melbourne's fell 17 cranes to 196, the lowest in a year and a half, offsetting smaller gains in Brisbane, Canberra and the Gold Coast, Newcastle and Perth. This pulled the national total down to 722 cranes, the lowest in 2 years, from 757 6 months earlier. And they're looking at the RLB's Q1 data. The headline number masks the underlying turnover as cranes come down on completed projects and are replaced by new ones starting up. Since RLB's last count in September, 243 residential cranes have come down across the country's skylines and 206 new ones have gone up, cutting the total to 484, down from 521. One risk of the illness pandemic is that investors freeze decisions on new projects, and the churn of cranes and the activity that represents hits a wall. With private residential projects already on the decline, it is crucial that the pipeline of public and institutional works continues, said Joe Barr, the chief executive of developer and builder John Holland. It's more crucial than ever, Mr. Barr told the Australian Financial Review after visiting the 15th-level office project John Holland is developing in 275 George Street in Sydney. Just out of interest, I'd suggest everyone looks up who owns John Holland. Just which foreign country the business that owns John Holland is registered in. Just out of question, Let me know in the comments if you find out, if you're surprised. Because you've got the workload that is there and able to be done, major projects and relatively minor projects, rail projects and so on. It's really important for the economy and the supply chain as well. Well, he's right there. But the fallout of the health and economic crisis, which prompted the federal government to delay the scheduled May budget until October, puts much up in the air.
There's a fairly large pipeline of hospitals, prisons, and other institutional projects, education is another, which are ready to go, said Richard Frizina, a joint managing director of Melbourne-based builder Kane Constructions. Whether those funds are diverted to deal with the illness, we're not sure. We don't have visibility. Construction, a large employer, is not immune to the highly infectious virus. As Kane found out last month, after an on-site subcontractor tested positive for it, and the industry has stepped up precautions to allow work to continue while minimizing the risk. And yes, I'm working with builders now, and it's interesting to see just the methodology they use to minimize their risk. There are a whole heap more management processes that are going into controlling social distancing on site, staggering lunch breaks, and ensuring hygiene is practiced. The workforce is getting the message. So we can see here, guys, we can see here how in one part of the economy this can be managed. This can be managed. Surely you could apply it to other things. The slowdown already underway shows the need for the industry to reassess policymakers and to reassure policymakers and the wider public that it can function while taking the necessary precautions. Sydney's total as the decline in commercial project cranes hastened the fall from the late 2017 peak of 350. And I'll bring up this chart here. If we look at 2017, look at just the crane, well, the foreign investment into building approvals. Look at that, 14-15, there was the building approvals. Look at that jump. Then we hit a peak in 2017. The building approvals, or foreign investment in building approvals, declined. So there's a lag from when the building approvals and the construction happens. But also, do you think this foreign investment is going to come back? In Melbourne, the decline was overwhelmingly due to a slump in residential cranes, which fell to 122 from 149, more than offsetting higher numbers of cranes on health, hotel, and retail construction projects. Adelaide's crane count fell by 4 to 15, Brisbane rose by 1 to 58, Canberra gained 2 to 27, cranes on the New South Wales Central Coast fell 5 to 9, while Newcastle gained 5 cranes to 17. Darwin was unchanged at 1, Sunshine Coast unchanged at 11, Gold Coast cranes total rose by 4 to 33, Perth rose by 3 to 37, and Wollongong fell by 3 to 15. Hobart slipped by 1 to 4. As residential work has slowed, the non-residential sector has gained in importance. The RLB report showed there were a record 238 non-residential cranes across the country in the commercial, education, health, and infrastructure sectors. So there you go, guys. So crane numbers have fallen, particularly in the residential sector. Now, we're seeing these building approvals that have just shot up, but we'll have to see if that continues. Let us know in the comments if you're experiencing that, guys. So I've got the RLB Crane Index, the 16th edition here, and we can just see overall, I mean, there are 4 in Hobart, 196 in Melbourne. You can see how many are spread around the country. So let's have a quick look at just some of the data here. And I will link to this, guys, on my website if you want to go through it, because I quite like some of the maps they have showing the cranes. So total cranes across Australia now number 722, down 35 or 5%. A record number of non-residential cranes across Australia. The non-residential index has reached 207, the highest value since commencement. Now that's definitely something that I think is stand out. It shows you that the residential construction and development industry is slowing down. The residential index records a second consecutive fall for the first time. There's another first. Brisbane, Canberra, Gold Coast, Newcastle and Perth got cranes. Sydney dropped by 20, Melbourne by 17. The pandemic impact will be felt in the next edition of the index. The implications as the delays in the commencement of proposed projects may be known by the next edition of the index in Q3 2020. So we can see here, I mean, there's the crane movements. And what we'll do is I'll just scroll down. We can see the RLB Crane Index. It was started in Q2 15.
and this was has fallen to an index value of 169 for this edition. This represents a drop of 5% from the previous index. So you can see here it's trending down. And the residential Australian index. The residential index represents the number of cranes on residential projects across the country, fell to a level of 156, down 7%. So we can see it there. Non-residential, I mean, look at that. From that one there, it's doubled since 2015. Since 2017, it's nearly doubled as well. So there you go. It's only slightly gone up. Adelaide, I mean, there you go. Look at that drop in the index. Base is Q. Okay, so the 100, it's all measured relative to 100 at quarter to 15. So all of these numbers. So you can compare it. So it's doubled since then. And, you know, it's still double. Adelaide's still double what it was in quarter 2 of 2015. But I guess that's just when they started it. Maybe we should look at 2017 when there was, you know, that construction going on. Well, look at that. Lower than that. Where's the, oh, they don't even have the GFC in here, so it's new. You can see where they're located around the city. I mean, look at Brisbane. Sure, it's gone up, but where's the trend, guys? Where's the trend? It's not looking good, and there they are, all around Brisbane. Oh, well, they're spread far and wide around. Canberra, so they're grown. 540 since 2015. So they're definitely up, and they're up on last month, but not much. We'll have to see. Central Coast, I mean, it's going down since they were counted. It's definitely trending down. Darwin, I mean, it doesn't have much action, does it? It's half. It's definitely down from there. Gold Coast, looks like it's trending up, guys. It looks like it's trending up, but what are the red ones again? The red residential? Yes, so the red cranes are residential, which isn't surprising, knowing the Gold Coast. But we'll have to see. I mean, there you go. We'll have to see how it goes. Hobart. I mean, poor little Hobart. They're still at 4 cranes. They went down, gone back up again. So the overall status is down. Melbourne, I mean, there you go. That's definitely trending down, isn't it, everyone? There you can see where they all are. Geelong, I guess they got to count it. Lots of cranes there. Newcastle, well, they seem to be doing well. Lots of residential ones, though. Perth is still below where it was in 2015, which isn't a surprise, but it's trending up. Looks like it's heading up. Have to keep an eye on it, particularly with predictions of lower iron ore prices. Sunshine Coast, I mean, yeah, I'm surprised it actually has that many cranes, to be honest, but then again, there's a lot of work going on up there. A lot of residential, but yeah, so that's the thing, it's all residential, so it's steady, but it's all residential. Sydney, it's reached its peak and it's going down. And there you go, look at all those residential projects, everyone. Look at that. Oh, well, they go into great detail in Sydney. Wollongong is trending down. So there you have it. And this is how they explain, how they develop the index. So there we have it, guys. Crane numbers are going down. Non-residential are now at the highest they've ever been. Residential numbers, which seem to make up a large portion of the crane, well, the majority of the cranes, are slowing. Let us know if this is affecting you in your business or trade. How would you plan to deal with it? Are you seeing this slowdown? It tends to align with a lot of what I'm hearing out there. If you're lucky enough to be working on government projects, you know, is more spending happening? Will that be where the construction will be moving towards the next year? Could be, particularly if residential and foreign investment drops off and that sector slows down. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, everyone. Thank you for watching.
Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and you want to support the channel, there are a few ways you can. You can share the videos and help spread the channel. We just hit 12,000 subscribers. Thank you all very much for everyone who's helped out. You can use our affiliate links at Amazon or eBay for your consumer purchases. We receive a small advertiser's commission. You can actually join the channel on YouTube or on Patreon for a small monthly fee. You can use our affiliate links at Amazon, our referral links at Independent Reserve or Kucoin for the crypto traders out there. We have merch available from the HeiseSays website, pocket squares, and mugs from Teespring. You can send us gold using Gold Pass or PayPal for a contribution. Thank you all, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.